If you have read the syllabus, you will notice that we use the term rhetoric quite frequently. And so we should probably wrap our heads around what this term means. And if you've heard the term before, you may have an understanding of it as meaning persuasive. Right? So the basic definition would be the art of persuasion. And we can think about that persuasion in writing. For example, you could think about the opinion section of a newspaper, where you'll see people build arguments. You can think about more formal texts. Right? And you can look at more formal texts and look at the arguments or the messages that are embedded. Those can be short texts. They can even be book-length texts. You could think about really short texts in a newspaper, like the letters to the editor, or you could even just think of a text, because the text itself, right, has a certain message or argument that it's sending. And of course, we can also think maybe of rhetoric in terms of speaking. So we could think formally in terms of a presidential speech. Maybe we want to think informally too. Right? Maybe you've had to buy a used car and you found yourself confronted with an individual who was trying to be persuasive. Or maybe you found yourself at a party, and if you look at this example, we could also look at how this conversation functions rhetorically, the message that's being sent, the argument that's being made, and whether or not the individual who's making it is being effective or not. And it's not just in writing or necessarily just in speaking. We can also think about it in terms of visuals. If I show you this, it's likely that all of you know that there's a message embedded in this visual. Right? We can think of the emojis that have come into existence recently. We could even think of advertisements like this, right, where they're building certain arguments, in this case about kind of the corporatization of the culture. We can look at the modern day version, right? Again, there's an argument here about where people's ideas come from. And we could even think perhaps of that. So for us, during this course, we're going to be thinking of rhetoric, but we're going to think of it more complexly than just persuasion. We're going to think of the study, uses, and effects of written, spoken, and visual communication.